Good morning, friends. Today, let us move to the next very important topic called as climate change. This climate change, what I did here is I'm going to discuss this climate change into three parts. Today, we will be seeing the part one where it talks about the climate changes and its impacts. The recent reports given by IPCC and what are the impacts of climate change on India. What do you mean by climate change? The definition, the global warming, then what do you mean by global warming potential? All these things will be dealt in the part 1 session of climate change. In the part 2 session of the climate change, we will be seeing all the conventions and the protocols. We will be seeing all the conventions and the protocols. This is going to be the very big topic. We'll be seeing right from COP1 till COP25, and the very important protocols here is one is the Kyoto Protocol. The other very important agreement here is the Paris Agreement. Even we'll be coming across the difference between the Kyoto Protocol and the Paris Agreement, how Paris Agreement is much better than that of the Kyoto Protocol, how far Kyoto Protocol got succeeded, and how the Paris is going to come out of the lacunae that is present in the Kyoto Protocol. All these things will be dealt in the part 2 of the climate change. The third part, the part 3, is exclusively will be dealing about the climate change and India. What is the India's action? Because of the climate change, the world countries have taken certain decisions, and how the repercussions are there on India, and how India is coming out of that negative impacts, and how India has played a very major role. Here we'll be talking about the very important concepts like Indian Solar Alliance, and there are many topics out there. We'll be coming across. The last video is the about the climate change is the India and the climate change. These are the three very important videos. Now let us start with the first video called as the part 1 of the climate change. It is the video which talks about the climate change and its impact. It's a general impacts and the recent reports what the IPCC has given regarding the impacts of climate change on the humanity. The climate change may be defined as the variations on shift in the weather condition over space and time. Means what? Whenever you're talking about the climate change, you are talking about weather condition. But what's the difference between the climate and weather? Weather is a short-term phenomena where it includes a very important six parameters. The weather is having six parameters, like the very important one called as temperature, then pressure, then wind, cloud cover, precipitation, 1 2 3 4 5. The last one is humidity. These are the six weather parameters. These will be changing from time to time. If these changes, if all the six parameters are changing from time to time, they are called as the weather changes. The study about such a weather changes over a long time period or the long term is called as the climate. Each and every area is having such unique type of climate. Suppose if this is a region, if this is the globe, and this is the region where we have taken, this is the larger one. This particular region, based upon its latitude and longitude and the amount of insolation where it is happening, where it will be having separate type of climate. It will be having an exclusive type of climate. Say for example, it's the equatorial type of climate. This particular region is having a unique set of climatic conditions where it will be having high rainfall, high temperature, and because of this one you can find a very good vegetation is present. If such a region which is having a very great temperature and precipitation, if that particular climate is being changing slowly, such a change of the type of the climate is called as climate change. Let us talk about some other regions. Say for example, this is another region. Maybe this is the Arctic region, where it is having a temperature, general temperature conditions like low temperatures and low temperatures, low rainfall. Because of this one, where this region is mostly covered with the ice, this is the general climatic condition of this region. Suppose if the climate of this region, the general climate of this region is changing slowly, where the temperatures are rising, maybe the ice is melting, where the land is not having enough ice what it should have having, because of certain changes that are happening, such changes in the regular type of climate of this region is called as climate change. This is what the definition given by the IPCC for the climate change. What is the definition? The variation and shift in the weather condition over space and time. This time basically talks about more than 35 years. Whatever the temperature, whatever the rainfall, whatever the wind cover, whatever the cloud, whatever the precipitation, whatever the pressure, whatever the humidity that is having, if we are studying all the six weather parameters for more than 35 years, where this average of these 35 years is called as the climate of this specific region. If such a climate is of this region is changing over a period of time or a space and time at a different scales and magnitude, resulting into the changes of a climate type, is defined as climate change. This is what the simple definition of climate change. Simply, if a region is having a unique type of climate and that unique type of climate is keep on changing over space and time, this is what called as the climate change. But the question is, why such climate is changing? Can the climate can be constant? Why it can't be constant? Why it is changing? This change is basically attributed to direct or indirect factors of human activity. Basically, this climate change, whatever the climate change at present we are seeing, is due to human activity according to the scientist. But are there any chances of this climate change that can take place naturally? Yes, it can take place naturally also. But right now we are seeing the changes that are happening in the climate basically due to the human activity. If at all they are of natural factors, the climate change would have been very slow and mild. But right now the climate change that is happening is fast. This fast nature of the climate change is because of the human activities, especially like the burning of the fossil fuels, which induces global warming. Now, what do you mean by global warming? Global warming is simply the rise in the Earth's temperature. Suppose if this is the surface of the Earth, the sun is the major source of energy for the Earth. Sun will be giving the sun rays over the surface. The moment when the sun rays, nothing but the photo energy is being absorbed by the Earth, after absorption of the sun rays, the Earth will be radiating out the energy in a form of terrestrial radiation. In geography, you might have come across the types of waves where the incoming energy and the outgoing radiations are there. The first one, where the incoming energy is called as the solar insolation, which is the short wave energy. Once the short wave energy is being observed by the Earth and the atmosphere, where it turns into the long wave radiation. This long wave radiation will be released out by the earth into the space, which is called as terrestrial radiation. Once the incoming solar energy is entered into the earth's surface, the energy after absorption is released into the space. This is the natural phenomena that takes place over the surface of the earth for centuries together. But with the entry of human, now what is happening, where the energy which is supposed to get released into the space is not happening perfectly because of certain gases released by the human. These gases are called as greenhouse gases. What are these greenhouse gases? These greenhouse gases are the gases like water vapor, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide. These are the four basic greenhouse gases which are having the ability to absorb the energy released by the earth's surface. The moment when the gases absorbs the energy, now the gases that are absorbing the energy, the moment when they absorb the energy which is supposed to escape into space get traps here. This trapping of the heat energy makes the globe warmer. Such warming is called as global warming. In fact, this warming is very much essential. If the warming is not happening, then life would have not taken place on the surface of the earth. Means what? Whenever you are seeing the earth, if this is the surface of the earth, this is what called as the area where the sun rays are falling. This is called as day, this is called as night, where the sun rays are not falling. Had the trapping is not there, there would have been a frozen nights. Daytime thawing of the ice, and the nighttime the freezing of the ice takes place. Because of the continuous thawing and the freezing of the ice makes the life miserable. Therefore life would have not taken place on the surface of the earth. Because of keeping the earth warm due to trapping, the earth's atmosphere is acting just like a blanket which keeps the globe warm, due to which this warming makes the nights not in a frozen condition. Therefore the earth has life on the surface. This is the very important natural phenomena where the warming is very much essential. But right now, due to the activities of the man, where the warming has become much more than what is required, due to which the increasing temperatures are found here. This increasing temperature is leading to climate change. Means what? Global warming is leading to climate change. Many people believe that climate change and global warming are synonymous in nature, but there is a difference between the climate change and the global warming. Global warming simply talks about the rise in the temperature of the surface of the earth, whereas the effects due to the rise in the temperature leads to certain implications. Those impacts are the study of the climate change, like melting of the glacier, rise in the sea level, and there are many important sequences which are called as the implications of the climate change, where we are going to see in this class. The picture clearly shows that the sun's energy, which is incoming energy, see this incoming energy, this is the incoming energy, which is in a form of incoming shortwave energy. This incoming shortwave energy, the moment once it touches the earth's surface, or within the atmosphere where the dust particles are there, the cloud cover is there, whenever the cloud is absorbing the insolation, this energy that is coming right from the sun is being absorbed. Certain part of the sun's energy is being absorbed by the atmosphere even. After absorption of the energy, if the energy is being released out, which is called as the radiation, this is called as the terrestrial radiation. This terrestrial radiation has to escape into the space, but if it is not escaping into the space, if it get trapped, here you can see in the image where it is trapped energy, again it is coming back onto the surface. This is the main cause of increasing temperature, which is leading to warming of the earth, which is called as the global warming. Global warming is a natural phenomena, but this natural phenomena is being enhanced by the human activity because of the selection of the fuel called as the fossil fuel. This is the very clear picture how the greenhouse gases are making the earth so warmer. Why the gases are called as greenhouse gases? The word green is a positive word. Though the gases are trapping the heat and they are warming the earth, yet the gases are called as greenhouse gases. The question can be asked like why the greenhouses are called as the greenhouse gases. Much earlier to these greenhouse gases, there was a effect called as greenhouse effect, where in the upper latitudinal regions, what do you mean by upper latitudinal regions? Those areas where the insulation is not happening properly here in the upper latitudinal regions. In such areas, as the photo energy is not available for the green plants to prepare their food through synthesizing the photo is called as photosynthesis. Now, the people used to construct the glass house where the glass is having the ability to allow the sun rays directly into the inner layers of the house, but the energy that is being released from the surface of the soil in the house are being trapped by the glasses. Therefore, the temperature outside the house and inside the house are varying. More temperatures will be there inside the house and less temperature will be there outside the house. Such trapping of the heat artificially by the glasses in the house is called as greenhouse effect. Since earth is also having such effect where the atmosphere is having the same type of trapping effect, the gases which are responsible for trapping similar to that of greenhouse effect, the gases are called as greenhouse gases. The important greenhouse gases are the first and foremost one, water vapor. In fact, you can find huge quantity of water vapor in the atmosphere. This water vapor is having the ability to trap the heat energy right from the solar insolation and terrestrial radiation. The second very important one, where it is called as the abundant greenhouse gas in on the surface of the earth in the atmosphere, is called as carbon dioxide. Which is the abundant greenhouse gas that is present on the surface of the earth? It is the carbon dioxide, followed by a number of other gases like methane, then nitrous oxide. These are the natural greenhouse gases. But what are the artificial gases? Are there any artificial greenhouse gases? Yes, there are certain artificial gases which are called as pollutants produced by the human activity. The pollutants like burning of the fossil fuels, the moment whenever you are burning the fossil fuels, where they will be releasing certain gases where they are having the ability to trap the heat energy because they are the carbon compounds. Such gases are called as greenhouse gases. Next comes the concept of global warming potential. It's called as GWP. What is this global warming potential? As I said just now, there are different types of global greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, then other gases like CFC, chlorofluorocarbons, and even there is certain gas called as ozone, which is called as the ground level ozone or the tropospheric ozone. These are some of the important pollutants where they are acting as a greenhouse gases. Means what? They are having the ability to trap the heat energy which is being emitted by the surface of the earth. Now, the abundant greenhouse gas is carbon dioxide. With respect to carbon dioxide, how much capacity is there for the other greenhouse gases to trap the heat? This concept is called as it's called as global warming potential. Means what? How much potential a specific gas is having the trapping capacity, heat trapping capacity in comparison with carbon dioxide. This is called as global warming potential. It is a measure of how much heat a greenhouse gas traps in the atmosphere in a specific time period in relation with the carbon dioxide. It is what called as the global warming potential. It is expressed as global warming potential is equals to the warming caused by a greenhouse gases divided by warming caused by carbon dioxide. Since carbon dioxide is a abundant gas, therefore the ability of the carbon dioxide is considered as 1. The warming potential of carbon dioxide, if it is considered as 1, in comparison with the carbon dioxide, how much methane is having the capacity to warm the atmosphere, nitrous oxide, how much it is having the capacity to warm the atmosphere. This comparison is called as the global warming potential. Let us see different gases and different warming potentials of these gases in a form of a table. Now, see here, this is the greenhouse gas, the global warming potential, and the time period. What is this lifetime? The lifetime is nothing but the ability of the gas to get trapped in the atmosphere. Suppose if this is the earth, if this is the atmosphere, how much time period this particular gas will be present in the atmosphere. See the ability of the carbon dioxide. Whenever you are talking about the carbon dioxide, once we take the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide, it will be staying in on the surface of the earth for more than anywhere between 10 years to 120 years. Anywhere between 10 years to 120 years. This is what the ability of the carbon dioxide to get trapped in the atmosphere. Such a carbon dioxide is observing the heat energy which is being released. If it is staying for 120 years, for the period of 120 years, it will be keep on trapping the heat energy. Therefore, this capacity of the carbon dioxide to trap the heat is characterized as 1, which is called as global warming potential as 1 for carbon dioxide. How much the methane, the CH4 gas is having the ability? It is having 21 times more that of the carbon dioxide. When it comes to the nitrous oxide, it is having the capacity of 206 times more that of the carbon dioxide. And let us see the hydrofluorocarbons, which is a very important gas in the ozone summit, where the people are talking about more about this hydrofluorocarbons, where the name of that ozone agreement, the amendment that is made to the Montreal Protocol is called as the Kigali Summit. The Kigali Summit. Please refer this Kigali Summit with respect to ozone. This hydrofluorocarbon is having the capacity anywhere between 140 times more than that of the carbon dioxide to almost all 12,000 times that of the trapping capacity of the carbon dioxide. And the next one is called as perfluorocarbons. It is having the capacity between 6,500 to 9,200 times. And SF6 called as sulfur hexafluoride, it is having the global warming potential of 23,000 times as that of the carbon dioxide. And if at all you are seeing the lifetime period, methane can get trapped here in the atmosphere for about 12 years on average, and the nitrous oxide for about 120 years. Let us see the hydrofluorocarbons and the perfluorocarbons, where they are having the higher ability. All the fluorocarbons, whether it may be chlorofluorocarbon, hexafluorocarbons, or the perfluorocarbons, hydrofluorocarbons, they are having the very great ability to be present in the atmosphere. Once released by the human activity, they will be staying not less than 1,000 years. All the gases are of more than 1,000 years, it ranging to a maximum of 50,000 years. This is what the fluorocarbons, all these fluorocarbons are having a greater ability to trap the heat energy. Therefore, the very important activity right now for the human welfare is to weed out these gases. That means what, you should not use these gases. If at all you are using these gases, they get released in the atmosphere and they will be staying for longer time period, and they will be trapping the heat energy for lengthier time periods. This is about the table which is talking about the global warming potential of different gases. This is the image which shows the sun's rays are entering onto the surface, and after absorption by the earth's surface, now the earth will be releasing the terrestrial radiation out, but there is a layer of greenhouse gases. This layer of greenhouse gases, where they will be allowing only a part of the earth's terrestrial, nothing but terrestrial radiation of the earth out into the space, but majority of the gases are being, majority of the heat is being trapped back into the surface, creating a great warming effect. And therefore each and every gas is having certain potential, where it is called as the global warming potential. This is about the map, the diagram showing the global warming potential. Now let us see the factors affecting the climate change. The climate change is being affected by both two factors. One are called as the natural factors, another one is called as the human made factors. Let us see the natural factors. The natural factors, the first one is called as the continental drift, where it is but natural, where the man's involvement is not there. Then the convective currents in the interior of the earth, where it leads to plate tectonics, the volcanic eruptions, the oceanic currents, solar variations, and even the earth's orbital changes. These are the natural factors where the man's involvement in these activities is not there. Let us see the first one, called as the continental drift. What do you mean by continental drift? Meaning the movement of the continents from one place to another place over the surface of the earth. This continental drift was a was a very important factor, where whatever the continents right now we are seeing at the respective positions were not present at the same place some 200 million years back. Because of the movements of the continents, just like the boats on the water, even the land mass, nothing but the continents are drifting from one place to another place. The moment whenever the continent is being drifted from one place to another place, definitely it induces the climate change. It will be having the climate change. Why? Because suppose if this is the earth, if the continent is present somewhere here in the polar region, if it moves towards the equatorial region or the tropical region, this very region will be having different type of climatic condition. Earlier it was having the polar type of climatic condition. Then the moment when the continent moves to the tropical region, now it has got the tropical type of climatic condition. This is where the continental drift changes the climatic condition of a region. The second one is the convective currents, which involves the plate tectonics. And due to the temperature variation in the core of the earth, the mantle plumes and the convective current forces the plates of the earth to adjust, which causes the configuration of the earth's plate. Means what? The effect of the mantle plume. Suppose if this is the surface of the earth where we are staying, under the lower layers of the earth, where you can find certain division like crust, then mantle. The second layer is called as the mantle. The last one is called as core, where the molten rocky material that is present in the outer core cannot stay, since it is mantle, since it is the liquid core material, liquid rocky material, it can't stay firmly there. It used to come onto the mantle, and where the circulation takes place here like this. The circulation, these circulations of the liquid rocky material right from the outer core onto the outer mantle, these are called as the convective currents. The moments when the currents are moving like this, the moment when the currents are moving like this, now it breaks the surface of the earth, nothing but the crustal part, and the crust gets diverted or get dispersed into two sides, thereby creating the movement of the earth, movement of the continents. Suppose if this is Africa and this is South America, where they'll be moved apart because of the movement of the magma, nothing but the molten rocky material in the deep inner layers, where the continents moves from one place to another place, which leads to again the first concept called as the continental rift. This is how the continents will be moving from one place to another place because of the convective currents that are present in the deep inner layers. The position of the continents also influences the patterns of the oceanic circulations. Because the oceanic currents, here again we are moving to the next one called as the oceanic currents. The movement of the water, the movement of the water on the surface of the earth from one place to another place is being greatly influenced by the position of the continent. If the continent is present here, the water that is moving here will be obstructed and it will be moving vertically up, and it will make the gyre. It's called as gyre. What is gyre? Gyre is nothing but a complete cycle of the oceanic water is called as a gyre. Suppose the continent that is present here is responsible for the formation of the gyre. If these continents move to some other region, therefore the gyre will be much larger. Means what? The movements of the continents further impacts even the oceanic currents. And when it comes to volcanic eruption, the moment whenever there is an eruption of volcano, means what? The movement of magma from the deep inner layers of the earth onto the surface of the earth. When the magma comes, it's not just the magma, that is the rocky material alone comes out. It comes out with the different byproducts which are called as the pyroclastic material. The very important pyroclastic material is the volcanic ash, the dust particle, nothing but the fragmented rocky material, and even the huge quantities of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and even certain acids like sulfuric acid. All these gases which enter into the atmosphere again increases the trapping capacity or increase the trapping capacity of the atmosphere, and therefore increases the temperature, thereby it leads to the climate change. This mod, the volcanic eruption is also very important and the responsible factor for the climate change. After having discussed the drift, convective currents, the volcanic activities, and the oceanic currents, let us move to the next two very important factors, what is called as solar variation and the Earth's orbital changes. Next comes the solar variations. What are these solar variations? The energy that is emitted out from the sun's surface is called as solar radiation. This solar radiation is not constantly emitting from the sun's surface. There is a cycle for every 11 years where the solar energy is coming in the form of a very great intensity, which are called as flares. These are called as the solar flares. The solar flares means what? From the sun's surface, where the energy at once it is emitted out in the form of a flares, where they may disrupt the electromagnetic waves which are helping the earth for its gravitational force. It may disrupt that gravitational effect of the earth. These are the solar flares. For every there is a cycle for every 11 years where the intensity of the energy that is emitted right from the sun's surface will be more, and again it gets subsided. Means what? More the sun energy, when the energy is committed more from the sun surface, then the temperatures will be changing. Means what? The temperature will be rising. And when the temperatures are, and when the solar flares are not there, then the temperature remains constant. Therefore, the temperature of the earth depends upon the solar activity. This is what called as the solar variation. The next one is called as earth orbital changes. There are certain cycles called as Milankovitch cycles. What are the cycles? They are called as Milankovitch. There are certain cycles called as the Milankovitch cycles. These cycles where it talks about, suppose if this is the earth, earth has tilted at an angle of 23.5 degree. Earth got tilted at an angle of 23.5 degree. This is what every textbook will be giving. But what this Milankovitch cycle talks about, the exact angle of this earth is the average of 23.5 degree. Means what? Earth is having a wobble effect. WOBBLE. What is this wobble effect? It is fluctuating between 24 degrees to 22 degrees, and therefore 23.5 is taken as average. Means what? The earth gets tilted at an angle of 24 degrees sometime, and sometimes it is tilted at an angle of 22 degrees. Therefore, the average is taken as 23.5 degree. More the tilt, that summers will be more warmer and the winters will be colder. But less the tilt means what? The summers will be milder and the winters are also milder. Means what? There is a average of temperatures can be found here due to less tilt, due to the angle of incident. These are all certain natural factors which talks about the changes of the temperatures over the surface of the earth. These are the natural factors where the man or humans involvement is not there in this climate change. But the next very important one is the human causes, nothing but the anthropogenic changes. What are these anthropogenic changes? How they are impacting the climate change due to the human's action. The one is called as the greenhouse gases. Because of increasing more and more greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, the next one is called as deforestation. Because of clearing of the forest, then the coal mining, burning of the fossil fuels, industrial process, agriculture. These are some of the factors how they are impacting the climate change. Let us see all these things in brief. Right from the industrial revolution, right from 1750, we have chosen the fuel as fossil fuels. Some of the scientists are of a view that in fact we have taken a wrong path for the development. When the nature is providing so many fuels, we have selected a wrong fuel by selecting the fossil fuels. There are number of sources of energy like wind energy is there, solar energy is there, tidal energy is there, geothermal energy is there. Though there are number of energy sources, we have selected the wrong fuel by selecting the fossil fuel. Because of this wrong selection of the fuel, where the man life is, means what? The earth is getting degraded due to burning of this fossil fuel. As a fossil is made up of the carbon compound, whenever the carbon compound is burned, the element called as carbon get released into the atmosphere. The basic property of the carbon is to absorb the heat energy. Therefore, more and more carbon elements whenever released into the atmosphere, they are absorbing more and more heat, thereby the global temperatures are rising, which is called as the global warming. The moment when the global temperatures are rising, these temperatures are further impacting the other scenarios where they are the melting of the glacier. Due to melting of the glacier, the sea level rises. Whenever the sea level rises, it submerges the coastal land, therefore impacts the human who are living in the coastal areas, encouraging the people to move out of that region, making the people as refugees who are called as environmental refugees. They're called as environmental refugees. These are the impacts of global warming, where it is called as the climate change. This climate change is basically due to the wrong selection of the lifestyle of the people. This includes, see, a burning of the fossil fuels, the first major factor. With the burning of the fossil fuel, the carbon compounds will release into the atmosphere, where they're called as the trapping gases, which are otherwise called as the greenhouse gases. These gases, which are being observed by the nature, where get reacted with the gases that are present in the nature, forms into carbon dioxide. This very carbon dioxide is a important gas for the trees to observe. The trees will be surviving on the carbon dioxide, thereby absorb the carbon dioxide, releases the oxygen. But for the habitat of the human, where the human wants more luxurious type of lifestyle, we are going for cutting down of the trees. The moment when the trees are being cut out, there is no factor of absorption of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide remains on the surface of the earth, and moreover, because of high industrial activity, we require more sources of energy. Therefore, more and more fossil fuel like coal is being mined. Because of the coal mining, maybe the industrial development takes place, but the ecology and economy, both they don't go hand in hand. More the ecological destruction, more the economic development. When you want to see more the economic development, definitely we need to go for more ecological destruction. These are the factors which are affecting the atmosphere, therefore leading to climate change. And the very next important activity of the human is agriculture. Without the agriculture, the human existence is difficult, where we want more and more food material. But the problem here is, whenever you are growing the food, especially the food material like paddy, where we need to log the soil with the water, it's called as waterlogging the soil. Whenever the soil is waterlogged, where it releases the gas called as methane, this methane again is having the potential to trap the heat energy. This is again a very important greenhouse gas, which in turn induces the temperatures in the atmosphere, thereby leading to global warming and further into climate change. These are some of the anthropogenic factors that causes are that are responsible for the climate change. Next comes the effects of climate change. Whenever the climate is changing, how comes the climate is inducing the human life? What are the major effects of climate change on the human? Let us see the climate change. Recently, the report called as the assessment report number 5 was released by IPCC. What is this assessment report? What is the IPCC? We'll be seeing in the next video. But here, let us understand simply. There is an organization called as Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, which used to release the reports called as assessment reports. Till date, it has released 5 reports. This assessment report number 5 was released in the year 2013-14. During this point of time, it has talked about certain tipping points. A very important concept called as tipping point. The tipping points is a current related aspect. Even in the year 2020, the tipping points are very important, because in the year 2020, more discussion was there on the tipping points by the IPCC. Therefore, tipping points can be an important question for you in this pre-T exam. Now, what are the tipping points? We'll come to the tipping points, but what are the effects of the climate change? The IPCC has given the report that the climate change has shifted weather patterns. It has shifted the weather patterns, thereby it threatened the food production, and the rising sea level makes the land, the coastal land, to get submerged. The moment whenever the coastal land gets submerged, majority of the population is living along the coastal areas. These people, they are forced to migrate from the coastal areas, thereby they are becoming the environmental refugees, and there is a increased risk of catastrophes like flooding, not only flooding like cyclones in the coastal areas, hurricanes, typhoons, all they are the important effects of climate change. And the important of impact of the climate change is increasing disasters. The disasters are increasing. The disasters like extreme weather events. What are the extreme weather events? The extreme weather events like heat waves. The heat waves has become very common right now, not only in the tropical areas, even in the temperate countries. In the temperate countries, the heat waves has become a common phenomenon nowadays. The other extreme weather events like floods, droughts. Also, you can find a very important phenomenon called as El Nino. Earlier, the time period of this El Nino is around 5 to 7 years cycle, but right now, due to the climate change, the cycle has shifted from 5 to 7 years to 3 to 5 years. Therefore, the occurring or the recurrence of this El Nino event has become very frequent nowadays. These are some of the extreme weather events which are associated with the climate change. Next come the sea level changes. What are the sea level changes? The melting of the polar ice, where we are talking about the third pole. We are having two poles basically, one in the northern side and one is the southern side. Now the scientists are talking about the third pole. What is the third pole? Third pole is such a pole where there are the glaciers and ice caps, the glaciers and the ice caps on the top of the mountains and the mountain peaks, especially on the top of the mountains like Himalayas, Alps, Rockies, Andes. These areas are called to be the third pole, where you can find a huge glacier. Now, because of the rising temperatures, all these ice caps are been melting. Not only this one, even the ice that is present in both the Arctic and Antarctic, that is nothing but the northern pole and the southern pole, they're also fast receding. Recently, what we have seen, one of the ice shelf that is present in the southern hemisphere in the Antarctica, where is called as Larsen Sea Ice Shelf, is simply called as Larsen Sea ice shelf got deviated from the larger ice shelf and got melted into the oceanic body. Not only this one, we have witnessed the complete melting of the Arctic Circle even due to increasing unprecedented rise in the temperatures. These are all the ice caps that are present in both the polar regions, north and south, as well as the tops of the mountain peaks are also melting. Some of the islands like the Parali Island in the Lakshadweep, which got completely submerged due to the increasing sea level. These are some of the impacts of rising sea level. Then comes the agricultural impact. The changes in the precipitation and the seasons in the Indian scenario also got changed the agricultural patterns. Melting of the permafrost that is present on the in the polar and the subpolar regions, where there is a melting of this permanent ice cover in those areas, led to the increasing of methane. Whenever the polar regions are been melting off, means what, the thawing of the ice takes place, the ice which has buried some of the gases way back some in the past ancient time period, again they get released. Also, there are certain animals which are hibernating animals. They come out to the surface due to the melting of the ice and they break the carbon compounds. The moment when they break the carbon compounds released into the atmosphere, thereby they increases the temperature. These are some of the impacts of the agricultural impact, where the permafrost regions get melts and the people will go for the laying of the, I mean, cultivating of the lands there. Then also it also changes the patterns of aquaculture. where the aquaculture, the productivity in the aquaculture get reduces due to the loss of plankton. Plankton is nothing but the feed for the fishes. They get adversely impacted, due to which the aquaculture people, the fisheries, the prawns and all the seafood cultivators, they'll be incurring huge losses. Also, due to the decrease in the rainfall pattern, the tropical countries are in devastating conditions where the most of the agriculture happens to be on rain fed. When the rain is not happening properly, it will be directly impacting the agriculture of the region. The next one is the forest impact. What are the forest impact? Due to the increasing temperatures, the wildfires that happens once upon a time, the wildfires are not so frequent, but right now, due to the increasing temperatures, the wildfires became quite common right now, due to which the forest is being degraded. The best example, Amazon forest, the recent filed forest fire in the Amazon, also the recent forest fire in the Australia are the best examples for this one. Also, there is another very important one called as the carbon dioxide fertilization. It's called as carbon dioxide fertilization. What do you mean by the carbon dioxide fertilization? Is very very important point. Now let us see this one. With the increasing carbon dioxide, suppose this is a tree, this is another tree. Due to varied biodiversity, having different variety of life forms on the surface of the earth, now what happens? Each and every species is having different capacity to absorb carbon dioxide. When more and more carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere, maybe this particular species is having greater ability to absorb more and more carbon dioxide and grow more and more biomass, where it get enlarges in size. It will be producing different offsprings. Again, the offsprings will be growing. But whereas on the other hand, this particular species which is having less ability to absorb carbon dioxide, due to increasing number of these varieties, this variety will get weeded out from the entire from the surface of the earth. Therefore, this carbon dioxide fertilization leads to loss of biodiversity. This is a very important point called as the carbon dioxide increasing carbon dioxide increase in the atmosphere will lead to the loss of biodiversity. Means what? Only one or some few specific species will be growing on a huge scale, where the growth of these species will be at the cost of the growth of other species. Therefore, you can find the variety of life forms becoming less and less. This is called as the loss of biodiversity. This is about the forest impact. Then next comes to the impacts on the ocean. Whenever you are seeing the ocean impact, where the ocean can be impacted in two ways. One is called as the temperature of the water body rises. When the temperature of the water body rises, thereby the acidity of the water increases. The moment when the acidity of the water increases due to the pollutants that are been entering into the water body, it will be depleting the a very important algae, especially the algae like zooxanthellae. Whenever the algae like zooxanthellae get expelled from the ocean, then you can find the coral bleaching. Coral bleaching takes place. Bleaching, coral bleaching. If the coral bleaching takes place, the reefs are no more valid, and therefore it will be the coral reefs will directly impact the livelihood of the coastal people. This is how the climate change and the oceans. Then comes the last one is called as the health impacts. Even the climate change has got an adverse impact on the human health. Especially you can find the diseases like the epidemics, will spread very fast due to the contamination of water, the water contamination. As and when there is less availability of the water due to less decreased rainfall, where the water contamination takes place, waterborne diseases will be there. Not only this waterborne diseases takes place on the entire earth surface, even it will be having a severe impact on the groundwater. Also in the coastal areas, you can find the vector borne diseases like malaria, you can find chikungunya, dengue, you can find all these diseases are related to the climate change. Whenever the climate is has been adversely impacted, then the new pathogens will emerges, due to which you can find the adverse impacts on the health of the human. The tipping points as given by assessment report 5 by IPCC. The tipping points are irreversible changes that happens on the surface of the earth due to the climate changes. What are these tipping points? Let us see the 9 tipping points given by IPCC, which are very very important and they are current related developments. One is called as shutdown of Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, which are called as AMOC. What are these AMOCs? The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulations. These are the oceanic currents which are moving from the tropical region to the polar region, thereby taking the warmth of the tropical region to the polar region, and from polar region again they are coming back to the tropical region, thereby bringing the coldness of the polar region again back to the tropical region. These are the circulations which are called as AMOC, not just over the surface, even they will be going to the deep of the water. Means what? Deep of the inner layers of the ocean, where the cold waters you can find, on the surface you can find the warm waters. The circulation of these waters is called as the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulations. These overturning circulations are being affected. The first one is called as the shutdown of Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. The next one is called as the West Antarctic Ice Sheet Disintegration. Just now we have talked about one particular ice shelf called as Larsen Ice Shelf. The recent ice shelf which broke is called as Larsen C ice shelf. Earlier, Larsen A and Larsen B already broke from the largest ice shelf called as Larsen ice shelf. The recent one which broke from the Larsen was called as Larsen C ice shelf. Then the next one is called as Amazon forest, where recently the Amazon forest are in the very brink condition, where there are huge forest fires. Not only this one, because of the clearing of the forest in this region, what happened? The people intentionally have burned the forest in order to create the extra space for agriculture. These are the Amazon forest fire, one of the tipping point, where it is again irreversible loss for the humanity. The next one is called as West African monsoon shift. The monsoons, what are monsoons? Monsoons are nothing but the seasonal rhythmic reversal of the wind direction is called as monsoon, where you can find the monsoons in certain pockets of the world. One of such important pocket is the West African region. This West African monsoonal region has taken a major shift here, especially in the Sahel region of Africa. What is this region? We'll be seeing this one. The next one, the permafrost and the methane hydrates. What is this permafrost? The land which is permanently covered with the ice is called as permafrost, where it got melted off. Again, it's a irreversible change that took place on the surface. Then the coral reef die off, where the corals of the world region which are located in the tropical region are quickly dying, which is called as the bleaching. The coral bleaching is taking place in the entire world regions, BLECCHING, in the world condition. Then the Indian monsoons, even the Indian monsoons are also shifting, where you are seeing more and more frequent or more and more cyclonic activities. As we see in the year 2019, total there are altogether 7 cyclones that happened here in the Indian Ocean. Also in the year 2018, again there are 7 such cyclones that took place in the Indian Ocean, which is never in the history of the known history of India, where we have seen the consecutive 7 cyclones in a row of 2 years, where there is a complete seasonal shift here. The next one is called as the Greenland ice sheet is fast disintegrating. The last one is called as boreal forest, nothing but the coniferous forest that is present here in the Siberian region of Russia. Again, it is having an adverse impact, where is again say irreversible loss. These are some of the irreversible losses talked by IPCC, which IPCC called it as the tipping points. These are the tipping points. Let us see with the figures where you can find all these things. The first one, Atlantic meridional circulations. This is the Atlantic meridional oceanic circulation. Now let us see the picture. The red color represents the warm and the saline water, warm and saline water. Now the warm and saline water, it travels from the tropical regions along the Gulf Current. This is the Gulf Current, and enters into the North Atlantic drift, and near the Norwegian region of the coast of Greenland, where due to the temperatures, the very cold temperatures, the water turns denser and they go to the inner layers, where it is represented by the blue line, and right in the inner layers where it travels all the way again towards the southern side in the lower layers of the water. Again, one of the wing, it travels into the Pacific, the other wing travels towards the Indian Ocean, and along the tropical region again it rises up onto the surface, comes onto the surface, mixes here to the surface water, which is saline water, and the warm water again makes its way into the Gulf Stream. This is what the loop that is taking place. The cold water, which is the blue line, which comes here right from the Atlantic Ocean, it travels all the way along the west wind drift. It enters into the Pacific, to the north of Pacific, and comes onto the surface, and again it becomes warm and saline and forms a warm current and travels in the Indian Ocean, and from the Indian Ocean into the Atlantic Ocean. This is what the Atlantic meridional oceanic circulation. This very meridional circulation has become diluted, means what, it has changed its path, where the pattern of the movement is happening right from the times immemorial, but in the recent past, due to the climate change, this very circulation got changed. How this circulation got changed? It has changed due to the dilution that happened through increased rainfall. The dilution that happened due to increased rainfall and also melting of the continental ice, means what, whenever, especially in this region, when more and more melting of the ice is taking place from both the Arctic as well as the Greenland, now the water got diluted, and due to this dilution, the dilution happened through increased rainfall and also due to the melting of the continental ice in the vicinity of Greenland and the Arctic Circle, and that makes the water lighter and therefore unable to sink. Because of not having the capacity to sink, the circulation has not went into the inner layers. Therefore the circulation of this oceanic current has been adversely impacted. This is what the Atlantic meridional circulation, which got adversely impacted due to the climate change. Next come the Antarctica ice shelf. This is called as the West Antarctic ice shelf or ice sheet. This is the West Atlantic ice sheet, where this is the peninsula. I can talk about the Antarctic Peninsula, which got projected into the Pacific Ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, to the areas to the south of South America, especially to the coast of Argentina, where you can find the Falkland Island. This is the area. Now, this very Atlantic ice sheet, which is the very important part, is called as West Atlantic ice sheet, is in a very melting condition due to the increasing level of temperature here. Let us see the Larsen. I was talking about the Larsen, Larsen. Larsen. Earlier it was A, B. Now it's called as Larsen C ice sheet. What is this Larsen C? In the Antarctic Peninsula, the research has shown that the collapse of Larsen A ice sheet, also Larsen B in 2002 itself. In 2002 itself, Larsen B ice sheet has collapsed and was primarily driven by the warming of the temperature. Then the recent one, which has thinned so rapidly and got melted into the world oceans, into the Pacific, Atlantic, and the Indian, is the Larsen Sea. This is the Larsen Sea. This is the Larsen one called as the Larsen Sea ice shelf. Now it already broke from the Antarctic and got melted into the oceanic body. Now the worrisome condition is the rapid melting of the western Antarctic ice sheet. This is the part where it is rapidly melting. Because of this one, whenever it get melts up, the ice sheet, whenever it melts up and mixes into the water level rises, thereby inundates the South American tip. Not only the South American tip on one side, the New Zealand on the other side, and also the coastal regions of Australia. The next one is the Amazon forest. The Amazon rainforest is the largest rainforest in the world, where they are called as the lungs of Mother Earth. But such a very important lungs of Mother Earth with the lush vegetation, which is a haven for millions of species of plants, insects, birds, and animals. Right now, it is in a very dangerous condition, where the people of Amazon, they want more and more land for agriculture. They are intentionally clearing the forest, where the deforestation is taking place. On one side deforestation taking place, and on the other side unprecedented wildfires are happening because of both the human factors and the man-made factors. When they are existing in coexistence, due to the coexisting nature of human as well as the man-made, where the Amazon is on fire on a rapid scale. This is the Amazon rainforest. Not just clearing, the burning of the rainforest is releasing more and more carbon dioxide into the environment, due to which the global warming is taking place on a large scale. The next one is called as the Sahel region of Africa, nothing but the West African monsoonal systems. Whenever you're talking about the whenever talking about the Australia, this region is called as the Sahara. This is the Sahara. This is the rainforest region of Africa, where the equator passes through Congo, Zaire countries. The sandwiched part between the Africa, the Sahara, the sandwiched part between Sahara. Let me give it very clearly. Let me show this one clearly. This is Sahara Desert. This is the rainforest region. The sandwiched part of this Sahara and the rainforest region of Congo Zaire, this is the area called as Sahel region. This is the grassland region. This is a transition ecosystem between the desert and the forest, which extend all the way from Mauritania till Djibouti. This is the Djibouti, and this is the Senegal and the Eritrea, Mauritania. This is the area where you can find the transition region. Here you can find the monsoonal phenomena, but because of changing temperatures there, because of changing temperatures of this region where the monsoons are being affected very badly, and post deforestation in this region, no more the climate is conducive. Therefore there are no rainfalls that are happening for the past 5 6 years, which has been observed by the IPCC, and said that the Sahel region is fast disintegrating, and the monsoonal region of this area are affected very badly. Because of this one, what is the latest development that took place? The governments of this continent, they have initiated a green belt. What is the green belt? They don't want to see the extension of Sahara desert into the Sahel region. Therefore the governments have taken initiation to construct a wall of green, a wall, nothing but it's called as the green wall. What is this green wall concept? Growing trees along the boundary of growing trees along the boundaries of, this is the area along the boundary of Sahara desert, right from Senegal to Djibouti. The country called as Djibouti, which is along on the coast of Red Sea, till Atlantic, right from Atlantic till the Red Sea, where the governments of these countries, they have taken the initiation to go for the construction of a green wall. This is a very very important phenomena that has taken in the very very important development that took place. Based on the concept of green wall, there is a current related part in India. The government of India has initiated the green wall concept in India. From where to where the government of India is constructing the green wall, since it is along the boundary of the Sahara desert called as Sahara. What is the desert that is present in India? It is the third desert. Along the boundary of the third desert, right from Gandhinagar, right from Porbandar to Panipat, right from Porbandar to Panipat, the green wall in India is being constructed. It is on the lines of West Sahara model. This is a very important development that took place. The next one is the permafrost and the methane hydrate. What is this, the permafrost and methane hydrate? In fact, the permafrost region, which is permanently frost covered region of both Arctic and Antarctic, these are the areas with huge methane deposits. The huge methane deposits, because of the fossils that were deposited once upon a time off the coast of Russia, nothing but northeastern part of Siberia, and even the coast of Norway, especially the Svalbard region of Svalbard, Svalbard, the Svalbard region of the Arctic, where these are the areas you can find huge methanes. Right now, the scientists are claiming that These are the potential methane bombs in the Arctic. The scientists had developed a theory which suggests that the ocean warming could melt these ice crystals, releasing vast amount of methane into the atmosphere. This is a very great worrisome factor for the people. One side, the people are creating huge reserves of pollution, and on the other side, due to the climate change, where the natural pollutants which are deposited way back in the ancient time periods in the ocean, right now they are coming up naturally. This is the permafrost melting and the methane bombs in the Arctic Circle. The next one is the coral bleaching. The coral bleaching of, or which is called as the coral reef dying. What is this coral reef dying? In fact, the entire world has witnessed the mass coral bleaching. Entire world is witnessing the mass coral bleaching. BLEACHING. Mass coral bleaching. This mass coral bleaching, what do you mean by coral bleaching? In fact, this is the coral reef, which is normally a very attractive area, which is having more colorful and the plethora of various mosaic colors will be present here. But right now in the picture, what you can see is only the pale white color here. This pale whitish color is because of expelling of a very important algae called as zooxanthellae. 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 This is a very important algae which is having a symbiotic relation with the coral polyp, which is the building block of, or the which is responsible for the construction of coral reef. These two are living. The coral polyp, POLYP, the coral polyp along with the algae called as zooxanthellae, they are having the symbiotic relation. Due to the symbiotic relation, where the corals are providing shelter for the zooxanthellae, and in turn zooxanthellae are providing oxygen and necessary nutrient for the polyps. Therefore, these two are living in mutual coexistence. Because of climate change, due to increasing temperature of the ocean, and because of more and more release of pollutants into the ocean, due to which the ocean water is becoming more and more acidified. Due to the acidification of the water, also due to the increasing the temperature of the ocean, water body, the zooxanthellae is not in a position to stay in that region. Therefore, the zooxanthellae is expelled from the coral reef. The moment when the coral reefs, from the coral reefs, the zooxanthellae is being expelled, where there is no food for the corals. Therefore, they are becoming the white pale color structure, which is otherwise called as bleaching. Such type of bleaching is observed throughout the world, which is called as the mass bleaching of the world. This all because of the increasing climate change. Yes, this is a website where you can directly see the content, where you can find all the tipping points. Even you can find the video on this one, the tipping points which are being given by IPCC. What is a tipping point? It's a irreversible damage for the earth due to the climate change. See, these are the tornadoes, these are the desertified condition, more and more lightning and thundering events, more and more cyclonic condition, due to which you can find more and more cyclonic events. This is the permafrost. The permafrost region is melting. The melting of the permafrost region, whenever the permafrost regions whenever the permafrost regions melts, you can find the releasing of the methane, where this phenomena is called as methane bomb phenomena. Methane bomb phenomena, where you can find especially in the Arctic Circle. And this is the Amazon fires, and this is the forest fire, not just Amazon. Here you can talk about not just Amazon, you can call this one as the forest fires of the world. Forest fires of the world. Why just Amazon? Already we have explained much about the Amazon. Let us talk about the forest fires of the world. All the world forest is having the natural fire that is taking place due to the changed climatic conditions. Here, let us talk about the global warming and the rise of the sea level. What are the important factors that are responsible for the rising of the sea level? One, all we talk about only the melting of the glaciers. The melting of the glacier accounts for just 45%. There is another very important factor where it is called as thermal expansion of water. Normally, the water, whenever you are heating up, that there will be a rise in the volume of the water. This very thermal expansion of water is also contributing to the sea level or submergence of the coastal regions, and it is an important factor which accounts for 38% of the raising of the sea level. Then the third one is melting of the Antarctic ice sheet, which accounts for 13%. The loss of the ice from the Greenland is about 4%. This is the contribution of the ice sheet melting and the rise of the sea levels, which is due to the global warming. These are the different factors where the global warming induces impacts on the oceanic body. So here the water is getting warmer, less oxygen is mixed here, and because of more and more pollutants that are being included here, more acidification takes place, due to which the one is, all the people know about this one, the sea level rises. The next one is called as the coral bleaching takes place. Not only the coral bleaching takes place, you can find the inclusion of the toxic elements, and due to which the habitat will be destroyed. Habitat is nothing but the place of living for the animals, where it is destroyed. Acidification, the oceanic acidification takes place, and it impacts the fisheries, the fishing community. These are all the impacts of the climate change on the oceans, where recently IPCC has released a report called as Special Reports on Ocean and Cryosphere. In the ocean and cryosphere, where it is called as Special Report on Ocean and Cryosphere, SROCS. This is a very important special report, where it is recently released in the year 2019. It talks about the impact of climate change on the oceanic body. The last video is talking about the human health, how the climate is impacting the human health. Human health is being impacted here, where you can find more epidemics and also increasing of the pathogen. I can find the mass spreading of the diseases, high spread, due to which the human health is at a risk due to the infection of viruses. More and more viruses are turning out from the animals into the from the animals they are entering into the human body, thereby creating a lot of damage for the humans. These are all some of the impacts of climate change. In the next video, we will be talking about more about the conventions, the COP meetings, the conference of parties, right from COP 1 to COP 25. All these things will be seen in the the next video. The third video is meant for the climate change in India. Let us meet you in the next video. See you. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.